Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my daughter back to her biological mother? Original post. To avoid confusion, my daughter Millie, 14, is biologically my niece. So what happened was, years ago when Millie was about 3, my sister/her mom Layla, 38, left to work in another country, leaving Millie in my 44 male care. Millie's father died before she was born. Layla had promised to send money for me to take care of Millie and that she'd call and visit as often as she could, until she could take Millie to live with her permanently. After she left, she called probably 3 times in the first 2 months and then went AWOL. For years, I'd tried to find out what happened and assume the worst, only to hear from one of her friends a couple of years later that she got married to someone else and has an entire new family. I was heartbroken because Millie would ask when her mom was coming back, and I never knew what to say except soon. But even she grew tired of it and realized when she was about 8 that her mom wasn't coming back anytime soon. That's if she was coming back at all. Because of this situation, me and my wife were granted parental rights to Millie, and she couldn't have been happier that we were officially her parents. Well, what do you know? After 11 years, Layla finally graced us with her long overdue return last week, along with her new very wealthy family and 2 children. Most of my family was happy with her return, but me, my mom, dad, and my wife were nothing short of furious. She tried to explain, but all that we heard was I abandoned my own daughter and made a new family. As if that wasn't enough, she practically demanded her daughter back. Mom and dad weren't having it at all, and told her that Millie belongs with me and my wife, and that she no longer has any right to her. Welp, there she goes, screaming at me about stealing her daughter because I was infertile. And to hear that coming out from her mouth hurt me in a way I've never been hurt before, to the point where I cried and left. Me being infertile's always been my weak point, and for her to casually bring it up like that despite being my sister, broke me. For the next days, I prevented her from contacting Millie and I haven't told her that Layla is back, because I'm scared I will lose my daughter. I'm a human being too. I get attached, especially to someone I've had to raise, that too out of my own pocket. Not that I'm complaining. I believe Millie's my daughter, and I can't let her go back to the very same woman who abandoned her. Does this make me the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She did nothing to raise her for past 11 years, and your parental rights are legal. With that said, Millie's about 14 now, so perhaps the better way is to ask for her opinion and who would she prefer to stay with. As much as this was my biggest fear, I guess it's only fair she gets to make the decision. I was leaning towards everyone sucks here, but this comment about letting your daughter choose make you absolutely not the a-hole. Your sister is cruel and selfish. She will certainly go behind your back, and I'd even bet she would lie to your daughter about you blocking contact for all those years. Show that you're the honest parent. Be approachable, and I'm sure you'll get the outcome you want. Good luck with it all. How the heck could OP suck here? I guess raising a child for 11 years and then giving her to a parent that abandoned her once is a good idea? Seriously, what the actual heck? Not the a-hole. You are her parent. If the state has granted you parental rights due to child abandonment, you are her parent. If your daughter wants to see her biological mother, I wouldn't prevent her from doing it at the end of the day. However, you are still her parent. Edit. I'd like to thank each and every one of you. All your criticism is valid, and I really appreciate you guys for making me realize that I might lose my daughter by keeping the return of her mom away from her. I'd also like to apologize for the way I've phrased some of the things. By no means do I think of my daughter as some possession. She is her own person and doesn't belong to anyone. As such, I've changed the phrase belong to belong with to accurately represent what was meant. I love you guys for all the support you've given me, and I definitely will consult a lawyer. Me and my wife have agreed to tell Millie about her mother tonight, and we will make sure it's all about how she feels and not about us. Now for the first update. I would like to apologize for not responding to the comments and messages I've received lately. Things have been tough ever since we told Millie about Layla's return. After all the support and advice, you deserve an update on the situation. I don't even know where to begin, really. Everything has been a mess. Way too much happened the day after we told Millie. Since there's no word limit here, I'll try getting into as much detail as I can. That night, we told Millie that Layla had returned, and for a good few minutes, she was looking at us, as if waiting for us to say we were joking. But after she realized we were not, she broke down into tears and it hurt. Of course, she wanted to know more, and though we were hesitant, we ended up telling her about Layla and her new family. I had never seen her that furious. She was all over the place, throwing stuff around, and we let her because she needed to let it all out. For the night, she refused to talk to me since I should have told her the moment she came back, and my wife stayed with her for the night. Her anger subsided by morning, and we patched things up. At first, she wasn't sure if she wanted anything to do with Layla, but we let her make that choice, and she wanted to see her. And oh, so God help me with that woman. We set up the meeting for Millie and Layla, but she brought her entire family to the house, along with her expensive gifts, and everything went downhill from there. I need to mention a very important part that should have made Layla realize she truly abandoned Millie. Along with the family was her sister-in-law Tanya, who is about the same age as her. When both of them entered, Millie could not even recognize who amongst them was Layla, and they looked worlds apart from each other. I had hoped that was enough to convince her to see what she did, but she carried on and pointed out that she was Layla, all while attempting to get close to her, even when Millie was clearly distancing herself. It got so bad that my wife had to come in between them, and her husband had to pull her away. That's when she started yelling at my wife for coming in between her and Millie, also accusing my wife of replacing her. What was there to replace? She was never there to begin with. And wow, what a first impression she made to the kid she abandoned. Millie became infuriated once more and things were said. When I say she said what needed to be said, I mean it. It was a serious situation, but me and my wife were struggling to hide our smiles when Millie told Layla off. She called her cruel, selfish, disgusting, evil, and many more vile words to express her hatred towards her. Tanya had to take Layla's kids outside. Normally, I would not entertain the vocabulary Millie was using, but for this specific instance, I just had to allow it. She was too worked up after this, and I had to take her upstairs to calm down. Now it was just me and my wife versus Layla and her husband, and along came the usual chorus. She accused us once again, now saying we influenced Millie to hate her. She was in tears, and for a minute I felt sorry for her. My wife politely asked we discuss this like adults. Now the revelations begin, and honestly, I rest my case. As we were recalling events of the past and why Layla never contacted us again, Jeremy, her husband, was visibly confused. He looked lost, completely lost, to the point where I thought he wasn't feeling well, and I offered to take a walk. And well, we started talking about this matter and I was beyond shocked. According to him, when he and Layla met, she never said anything about a child, and only after the marriage did she reveal she had a child. Not by choice anyway, because he found out from one of my billion texts to her regarding Millie. She further lied and said my family forced her to give up her child to me because I was infertile and desperate for a child that shared blood with me. But it doesn't end there. When Jeremy wanted to read the rest of the texts, she deleted them because I was apparently insulting and making threats to her that were so disturbing she didn't want Jeremy to see them. Of course, I showed him the text from my phone, and he couldn't believe it. It gets even worse. It was said that I was preventing her from contacting Millie, and she didn't even want to involve the police in the matter because me and my family were dangerous. So she thought it was best not to contact us anymore to protect her new family. At some point, I was thinking to myself how incredibly stupid Jeremy was to believe Layla's blatant attempts to cover the fact that she abandoned a child. But I feel for the guy. He was probably so smitten with my sister, just like all her exes, that he failed to see through her pretentiousness. I didn't even get to ask why they chose to come back now, because Jeremy was angry and he went back inside fuming. They were fighting so loudly I had to send them outside. It was clearly going to get violent, and we had to physically separate the two. Jeremy took Tanya and the kids and left, leaving Layla there. My very empathetic wife let her stay in our house since she was wailing so much, and honestly, after all the lies, I couldn't care less about her. I did ask Millie if she was okay with Layla spending the night, and after seeing Layla break down like that, I wasn't surprised she let her stay. She made it very clear the only reason she was allowing it is because she's not like her, and that was enough to let me know we've been doing a good job raising her. She also said she was still waiting for her to explain why she abandoned her and why she chose to come back now. We did get to discuss how she felt about Layla overall, and needless to say, she was very disappointed with her approach. I took the chance to assure her she wouldn't be pressured to side with me and my wife, and that she can get to know Layla if she wants to. We would always love her no matter what. She assured me she wouldn't be going anywhere, and it was very emotional for me because my heart was at ease hearing her say that. Layla and Jeremy are still not talking, so Layla lives with us for now, since my parents don't want her at their house either, and my wife thinks it's too unstable to be left alone. But the more she delays us telling the truth, the faster her time is running out in the house. I just don't recognize my sister anymore. She was never like this. My parents raised her so well. I get she was traumatized by Millie's father's death, but surely it's not enough to change someone so drastically. And to abandon your child despite knowing you're the only parent they have left, then coming back after a long time to take her away from people who love her? It just makes it hard for me to sympathize with her. I doubt any one of us will take this to court, now that Layla's husband knows the truth. Give her a time limit. A week should be enough for her to get her act together enough to move forwards. Any longer than that, and you would be actively harming your daughter by having her around. Good luck on your next moves. Oh, don't worry about that. She has until tomorrow to answer Millie's questions. She can come up with the most saint of explanations, but the lies that she told her husband and his family will be her downfall. I know for sure nothing she says will ever convince Millie, and I did tell Layla that I'll drag her out myself if she doesn't leave tomorrow regardless of the explanation, and I would have the abandonment charges pressed against her. I just hope it doesn't come to that, and she just apologizes and peacefully exits our lives, because even now, I still haven't heard a single sorry from her. I can see she's taking advantage of my wife's empathetic nature, but I'm going to end it. Now for the final update. I've been noticing a lot of traction for my updates, and I can see you all want an update. As for the text messages, I've always kept them over the years ever since Layla went AWOL. They weren't just on one platform, but a lot more others. It was also advised by our lawyer to keep them, and that's how we also got Millie's custody. I know from the reader's perspective it seems everything happened fast, but I assure you it didn't. But I have to apologize. I cannot give you a detailed update about Layla's answer, at least not on a post. Yes, it is that bad. Layla's secret is only between me, my wife, and her. She told Millie it was because of her mental stability, but that was only surface level. Millie did tell her it was great that she eventually came back for her, but things are better with her gone, at least for now. The real reason would crush my daughter. We can't tell her until we're sure she can handle it, but I don't see us ever telling her something as horrible as this. Now I know my sister is dealing with her unresolved trauma that has made her the horrible person she is today. She is left, and I made her swear to never come back, but I know better than to take Layla's words for things, so I had to make sure in my own ways. I didn't do anything illegal if it's what you're thinking. Jeremy did come back before finally leaving to apologize to Millie about Layla's actions, and told her she's always welcome at his home and can get to know her half-siblings if she wants to. I don't know what will happen between Layla and Jeremy, but for her sake, she had better lie herself out of this one too, because if she tells Jeremy what she said to me, she might not even see her other kids again. But then again, it would be good if the kids are raised by Jeremy and not Layla, until she has seen a psychiatrist. I don't know how to feel about Layla now, because on one hand, I can see she's dealing with heavy unresolved trauma that needs professional intervention. But on the other hand, no mother feels the way she feels about my daughter. I am by all means going to delete this update after some time. Edit from a reposter. I heard back from Opie. Since he was not wanting to share the real reason Layla abandoned her daughter, had messaged him to make sure it would be okay to add this final update into this post, since it might result in a barrage of requests to hear what happened. He told me it was okay, because he was about to delete everything anyway. He did share Layla's story with me. I will tell you that Millie was not the product of an assault, as so many to come as assumed. I asked how Millie was doing after all of this. He said she was handling it really well. I'm pasting this reply about Millie below. My daughter is much better than I thought she would be. Her life and daily habits haven't been affected, and we're moving on as a family. Poor Millie. I can't even imagine how traumatic this whole situation is for her. And for Jeremy and his kids too. I don't understand how Layla thought she could swoop in and play mom to the child she abandoned, or how she thought she could get away with all the lies. In Layla's mind, Millie's still a 3-year-old, because when Layla left, she froze the image of the 3-year-old in her head. Yes, she knows she's aged, and she's 14 years old now, but she still thinks of her as more or less the same person she abandoned 11 years ago. 3-year-olds adore their parents. They love them unconditionally, and when parents inflict trauma on their kids, the kids don't stop loving their parents. They stop loving themselves. You see this in child services cases. Young children will lie, gloss over, and scheme to protect their parents so they can stay with them, even when the parents are harmful and neglectful. Instead of telling a teacher, an 8-year-old will go full mom mode and care for their baby siblings, make sure everyone eats and house looks presentable, and never tell a soul out of fear of being taken from a violent alcoholic parent. That kind of mindset in Millie was probably very present when Layla left. Millie asked for her for years. However, Millie's 14 now, no longer a young child, not clouded to her mother's actions, and she can see Layla for what she is now. If Layla had come back when Millie was 5 to 10 years old, she probably could have had either partially or fully the reunion she had envisioned. Layla just didn't realize that the toddler she left is long gone, and in her place is a clever young woman ready for some answers. When parents inflict trauma on their kids, the kids don't stop loving their parents, they stop loving themselves. As someone severely mistreated by her parents, this comment stuck a needle in my heart and made me tear up. You are so right. It took me so long to love myself over the people who willfully broke me. Thank you for this poignant assertion. I'm sorry. I have a son who is a toddler. He thinks the sun shines out of my rear end. Want to be adored like a celebrity, but don't have any marketable talents. Become a parent. My son thinks I am the finest chef, the funniest comedian, the most beautiful and smartest person, and the kindest, most wonderful human being in the world. Sometimes I need to do things he doesn't like. Like today, he could hardly breathe because he was so snotty, and I had to briefly pin him to safely scoop it out with a Q-tip. When the snot has been cleaned up and I have let him loose to do what he pleases, and what does he do? He crawls into my lap so I can comfort him, because his mind works under the assumption that I am so kind, smart, and wonderful, that whatever I do was either necessary or he deserved it. When normal people see the way a child loves and trusts, the normal reaction is to break your own back to protect them from pain, hurt, and suffering. Whatever they did, it wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve it, and the blame lies on them.
Mom wants to invite my ex whom I cheated on to my wedding, and my fiancé is absolutely furious. Help. Original post. I, 28 male, was a terrible person in the past, which I have moved on from. I used to drink a lot and had cheated on my ex, 27 female, countless times in our 3-year relationship. I don't know how she stayed with me for so long. One day, she found out I was cheating again and broke things off, which I don't blame her for. I was cut off by my family, which was heartbreaking. I eventually improved myself, got into therapy, and eventually apologized and reconciled with my family. I found out my mother and my ex were still in contact, which I didn't mind. They were close even when I was with her. My family invites my ex to family gatherings as her family is, let's say, not that good, which I again don't care about. We both are civil and don't interact much. Eventually, I met a new girl, 28 female, and 1 year later, I am engaged to her. Yeah, and she knows how I was in the past, as I had told her. We are planning a wedding to host only close friends and family. Then the problem arose that my mother, who is close with my ex, wants to invite her to the wedding, and my fiancé is absolutely furious. The reason my mother gave is that it's a family event. Honestly, I don't want her at my wedding either. I called my ex to talk about it, and she told me the same thing. She doesn't want to be at my wedding, but my mother is insisting, which is infuriating. My mother is still saying she won't come if my ex isn't coming, and my fiancé has had arguments with her. I am seriously thinking of not inviting my mother at this point, but if she doesn't come, I'm afraid I might be cut off from my family again. This is so infuriating. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Invite the ex. That's how hilarious wedding memories are made. I don't want her to come, nor does my fiancé. I can take it for my mother's sake, but I don't want my fiancé to be hurt. It's your wedding, not your mom's wedding. Tell your mom outright. She doesn't want to come. I don't want her to come. Fiancé doesn't want her to come. Stop being weird about it and let it go. Do not invite her. It is a weird entitlement when parents dictate guest lists anyway. Unless they are paying, they get no say. Even if they are paying, you have the right to draw boundaries. Good luck. If your mom is that hung up on it, maybe you have to let her go too. And I'd be curious to know what mom's motivation is here. Why make literally everyone uncomfortable by demanding a woman goes or gets invited to her ex's wedding? OP, it sounds like your mom made up for your terrible treatment of the young woman and sees her as a sort of protege at this point. But she has to realize that there's a past relationship between you and her, and by making this some weird thing, your mother is very much stressing your fiancé out. Not the a-hole. Your mother appears to be either hell-bent on punishing you for the rest of your life by making you interact with your ex on every occasion she can, or she's so emotionally enmeshed with your ex that she's willing to lose a son, a daughter-in-law, and contact with any children you may have in the future over this. Time to point out to her that it's not just you she is upsetting, it's your fiancé, and that there may be long-term consequences to this. In the final analysis, who do you want a relationship with? Your fiancé or your family? And in terms of the family, make quite sure you get the message out there to the rest of the family that you are not disinviting your mother, but that her insistence on bringing your ex to your wedding is causing a great deal of distress and hurt to your fiancé, and that as her husband, you must support her, especially at her wedding. Now for the first update. Honestly, I got overwhelmed with the responses. Thank you to everyone who replied. As most of you said, I grew a spine and talked to my mother with me and my fiancé sitting down. She wouldn't drop it, saying she doesn't like my fiancé. Well, my fiancé yelled at her, so she's not coming to my wedding anymore. I sent all wedding guests a message explaining the situation, that my mother wants to invite my ex to my wedding, and basically, most of them are on my side. Those who said I'm ungrateful, let's just say they are uninvited and blocked. My brother, 34 male, called me to say that I did the right thing, which was a relief. Going forward, I will probably go low contact with my mother. My ex called me. My fiancé and I talked to her on speaker, and she apologized and said she told my mother no, and that she won't change her mind. I said okay, and of course she's not invited. My father said he's not coming either, if his wife is not coming. Which is valid, I guess. So the wedding is actually small, with 50 people. But the planned reception is huge, with 150 people, which my father is throwing on my behalf. My mother will be there, so there might be drama. Edit. I should have added that my father and father-in-law are both throwing the reception together. I will have security just in case at the wedding. I wouldn't stop with security. Put passwords on everything. Flowers, cake, catering, venue, the whole thing. She is nuts enough to do something as equally stupid as inviting your ex LOL. We'll make sure. I mean, I get that this is getting all screwed up, and you never wanted any of this for your wedding. But look, for most people, the reception is the wedding. Of course, the ceremony is important, especially to you and your fiancé, but people mostly show up for the party, not the ceremony. People remember the party, the speeches, the dancing, the cake, and you've given control of that party to your mother's accomplice. I don't want to twist your situation up any more than it already is, but you at least need to think this part through some more. And obviously, if you don't or can't replace all the money your dad is paying for the reception, you have to handle him gently. But this update in your post, this plan you have now, it's a recipe for disaster. Should have added that my father-in-law is also covering half cost of the reception. I will talk to father-in-law about making sure no nonsense happens. I'm glad you put your foot down. Since your father is hosting for the reception, are you sure he won't cancel it from being pressured by your mother? Do you have a backup plan just in case? Father said mother won't do anything stupid at reception, and ex is not invited in reception. So your dad's not going to go to his own son's wedding because his wife is being unreasonable, but will go to the reception looking like a loser who didn't go to his own son's wedding? Got it. I don't know. My brothers don't have a close relationship with dad, to be honest. I was the favorite child who was spoiled rotten by him. That was the reason I was terrible in the past. Ah, there it is. The true reason your mom is crazy. She's using your ex as an excuse. She's emotionally incensed with you, and she's doing all this to get you to herself again. Second update. So I had a talk with father-in-law and fiancé about the whole situation, and my father-in-law will cover the cost of the reception alone. I offered some money to him, but he refused, saying I am like his son, which made me tear up. My father and father-in-law had a shouting match on the phone about it, so my father and mother aren't coming to the reception anymore. My fiancé is happy, and I'm happy that our wedding and reception are going to be drama-free. We will definitely have security there, but it's going to be hard explaining everything that happened. Many people are probably going to bail on the wedding. I haven't talked to them since, and will probably contact my father after the wedding and reception are over. Last night, I'm going to be honest, I cried like a baby realizing my mother and father aren't going to be there, but my fiancé comforted me. Probably the most amazing woman I've ever met. Can't wait to spend my life with her. Also, I failed my PhD exam lol. Results came a few hours ago. Gonna try again next year, I guess. Going forward, I'll probably go low contact with my father and no contact with my mother. If your ex didn't want to come, why didn't you invite her to appease your mother and then she just declines? I mean, I know that your parents sound a bit mad, but wouldn't that have been easier? Still not good enough for my mother. She was like, if your ex is not coming, I am also not coming. Yeah, that's just straight up insane. Man, life's throwing some wild curveballs at you. Keep your chin up. Remember, at the end of the day, it's about you and your amazing fiancé. Wishing you both a drama-free and lovely day. And don't contact your father after your wedding. Let him reach out to you. He chose not to attend. Okay. Now for the last update. So yesterday, I got married. It was the happiest day of my life. But yeah, it sucked not having my parents there, whom I thought wouldn't go this far against me. They didn't even come to the reception either. I honestly cried after the reception, but my fiancé was understanding and comforted me. I couldn't have asked for a better half than her. My ex sent a message of congratulations after the wedding, to which I replied with a simple thanks. Since the wedding, I still haven't contacted my parents, but my father did send an air fryer as a wedding gift to my address. It's an appliance, so I'm going to use it. The reception was awesome too. Thanks to you all for those wonderful comments, supporting and suggesting things. I honestly thought I didn't deserve all this due to how terrible I was in the past. But people can change, and I'm not gonna let it define me. I'll always keep it in mind, learn from it, and move on. Well done on your self-awareness, admitting fault, and consciously trying to be a better person. Unfortunately, there will still be doubters and negative people. Ignore them, and just keep making positive changes. I'm sorry about your family. I think even your ex saw it was inappropriate for her to attend. Your mom has lots of issues, and if she were truly a friend or cared for your ex, she wouldn't want her at your wedding. It would have created drama and put your ex in the spotlight or the firing line. Your mom not attending your wedding is just a symptom of the bigger relationship issues. But not attending was the final nail. It was a time when she could have witnessed you truly being happy. It's like she can't forgive you for something you did to someone else. She's holding on to something that everyone else has moved on from. I guess this is her hill. She hasn't even given your wife a fair chance. Go for therapy and embrace your wife's family. They sound great. Congratulations. When you grow, learn, and work on your character, you do deserve to be happy. Good luck. Yeah, she's a good person. I brought drama into my ex's life. Glad she's moved on now and I'm not in it. I have a new half to focus on now. I will say, glad you had a great wedding and reception. If inviting the ex was a point of contention, why respond to her text? Why isn't she blocked? It was due to the mother issue. Mom was nagging her too. It was just for communication. Plus, I'm just going to delete her number and not contact her anymore. I wonder if his mom was using the ex as an excuse to not go to the wedding. Because it's really weird that she was adamant the ex should go when the ex didn't even want to go. I've seen plenty of times here that mothers and sisters will pick the ex-girlfriend over the son or brother, and I don't understand how they can do that. This is simply the case here. OP's mom formed a close bond with the ex and refused to let go. OP said even after the breakup, his family cut him off but still invited the ex around, and his mother didn't accept his new wife. I think that's simply the case. There was a post on AITA about a mother who refused to stop inviting the ex around, even though the son had gotten married to someone else, and she kept saying the ex is her daughter, and she was not going to stop inviting her daughter to family events. I never understood that logic. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother I am upset he and his fiancée set their wedding date 7 weeks before mine? My fiancé and I have been together for almost 9 years. He proposed to me in July 2024, and we immediately knew we were going to set our date sometime in June 2026. We let family know ahead of time, and we finally secured a venue this past April for an official date. My brother proposed to his girlfriend about 2 weeks ago, on the same exact day that my fiancé proposed to me a year before. I just received a call from his fiancé to tell me that they have set a date for April 2026, 7 weeks before our wedding. I was taken aback and kind of shocked and didn't really know what to say to her in the moment, especially because she also asked me to be her bridesmaid. I called my mom to express how upset I was and to see if maybe I was overreacting. I found out from my mom that she and the rest of my siblings and family were told this past week, and they were also very concerned and frustrated, as finances and time are hard enough already. My brother then called me to see how I felt about it, and I told him that I was hurt. I said I would obviously support them and be there the best I can, but that I wanted to, and should, be prioritizing my own wedding, as my fiancé and I have been planning it for over a year now. He seemed to get upset with me for being hurt that they set their date so close, and essentially told me that if I could be there, or not be there, that's fine. His fiancé told me the same thing. I'm just hurt that this is even happening. I want to be a part of everything with their wedding, meaning I want to be able to give my full attention and space to him because I am happy about their marriage. But that's just how it is, and unfortunately, I know this is going to cause a lot of stress for other family members. Am I the a-hole for being upset about this? Edit. For some extra context, these weddings will be occurring in separate states. It will require a good deal of traveling for family. I am not upset about the time or even the event. I'm super happy for them. I'm very excited. But I know the financial state of the majority of my family members, and this is going to be hard for them. This is why my fiancé and I plan 2 years out. Not just for our own financial situation, but for others as well, so they'd have plenty of time. I know there are people who will say, well, it's your wedding, it's their wedding. Who cares about everybody else? And a part of that is absolutely correct. But I also know that some family members will not be able to do both. I am certain of this, and it's just unfortunate that we are in this position. Not everybody has the finances or time to attend 2 big events like this so close together. I was not mean to my brother. I just expressed that it did make me upset because I know how much stress this will cause for everybody else. I told him I will support whatever he decides and that I will absolutely be there the best I can. I don't believe the world revolves around me, but I do have enough emotional capacity to understand and care about how this will affect my family. Also, we have specifically asked for 0 gifts. We did say that if anybody is willing to contribute to a fund for future family planning, they can. But otherwise, we are requiring no gifts. It's really just about having people present, including my brother and his fiancée. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. I read your edits and I'm trying to figure out how it will be impossible for some family members to go to both weddings. They're just shy of 2 months apart, so unless you're having a destination wedding, or you're making people pay an expensive price per plate, etc., I don't get why they can't make both. If you or your brother or both of you are planning a lavish wedding, where guests need to pay to be there, see if you and your brother can work out a way to make it more financially feasible for your guests. Family doesn't necessarily live close by. Having to make 2 trips so close together would be pretty frustrating, if not an outright hardship for many. Yes, if people have to fly or drive a long distance, plus stay in a hotel, and quite possibly take time off work, it can be a financial burden, and people may end up having to choose one wedding over the other. It's inconsiderate of the brother and fiancé to choose a date so close to his sister's wedding. OP is not the a-hole. My in-laws did this. Brother-in-law planned a wedding for June, then sister-in-law decided to plan a wedding for March. It was extremely difficult for my partner and I to make it across the country twice in that short time span, as he only gets so much vacation and our finances are tightly budgeted.